CFL finishes ever. A week ago tonight, Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, Matt Donegan in the final minute of play finds Rickhouse in the end zone. The Eskimos tie Toronto at 34-34. But the Argonauts will not rely on the reluctant Eskimos to play overtime. Chris Woods takes the Condredge Holloway pass and runs the ball down the sidelines into field goal range with just seconds left to play.
With 4 seconds left. I like that.
Sporting the CFL's best average on field goal attempts, Lance Chomick tees it up from 36 yards away and misses. But the single point is good enough. Toronto wins by 1, 35-34.
Well, that's one you don't have to feel bad about missing. 35-34. What a finish.
And the victory gives the Argonauts some breathing room atop the Eastern Division standings. With a record of 4 wins, 2 losses, they have a 4-point lead on the current runners-up, the Montreal Alouettes and the Ottawa Roughriders. And tonight, the Argonauts will be looking for their 3rd successive win as they play host to the Calgary Stampeders. Live from C&E Stadium in Toronto, CTV's Friday Night Football. Last Thursday in Calgary, the CFL's leading passer put on yet another aerial display. Rick Johnson throws for 374 yards and 2 more touchdowns. But the BC Lions come back late in the 4th quarter. Ray Krause gets a crucial first down, with time now becoming a factor. And that leads to the winning score as Louis Pasaglia puts his boot to the ball with only 35 seconds left to play. The Stampeders lose a 1-point heartbreaker. And as we check the standings in the Western Conference, we see the loss puts Calgary 6 points out of 1st place. But a win tonight would put them back in the hunt. Their quarterback, Rick Johnson, has a bad ankle. Condredge Holloway a bad knee, but both offenses are working well.
Stampeders are off to a fairly good start this year. I guess you could say it's mediocre. We're 2-4. We could be easily 4-2 at this point. Defense was outstanding last year, and we're getting a good performance out of them this year so far. We're getting the offense turned around. We're getting a passing game developed. I think that's attributed to our outstanding play by our offensive linemen and our wide receivers. Tonight's game, we got, of course, Condredge Holloway, one of the best in the league, and he's, a potent attack all the time. So we're going to be on our toes. We're looking forward to a good game here in Toronto, and let's watch and see.
Our success in the last 2 games is mainly because of our receiving corps. I think now they're starting to understand what we want them to do as receivers, and they're making the adjustments. We have a hot system in our passing game, and we have to be able to read these things on the run. We also adjust our routes according to coverages, and our receivers are starting to do that much better now. As far as my health, I feel fine. I made it through last game with the knee only giving out once. So I'm looking forward to having a good game this week and hopefully come out of the game injury-free.
Holloway and Johnson meet tonight as the Argonauts play host to the Calgary Stampeders at C&E Stadium. Forecasters are calling for scattered showers in the metro area early this evening. No rain now. It is cloudy, warm, and humid with very light winds. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the CFL on CTV. You know, there is really not very much to pick between these 2 teams. They have won 2 games this year by a single point, the Argonauts, while the Stampeders have lost a pair by a single point. So their records are very dissimilar, but they've played very similar ball. The Stampeders rack up a lot of offensive yardage, but the Argonauts score more points. Who will win tonight? Well, maybe Pat Marsden and Leif Peterson will have more on that for us.
Thank you, Dan. Hello again, everybody. You know, you talk about football games that you're anxious to see. This is certainly one that I've looked forward to for the past week because of the 2 guys that we saw off the top of the show.
I couldn't agree more, Pat. This year in 1986, Calgary is really a truly exciting team. And, it used to be in the past where you thought of Calgary as just a great defensive team. Well, this year, that young man you just met, Rick Johnson's put together a really potent offense, and they're a great deal of fun to watch.
Well, it's funny. Tommy Forzani, the great receiver of the Calgary Stampeders of years gone by, says Rick Johnson reminds him of Dieter Brock. If he's that good, it's going to be an interesting night. Let's go back to Dan.
Pat, this is the first time this year these 2 teams have met. They meet in Toronto, and the opening kickoff is coming up in just a moment. You're watching CTV's Friday Night Football.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Well, we expect the biggest crowd of the season here at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. The Argonauts, of course, have won 2 in a row. The Calgary Stampeders really should be 4-2 if you want to consider that they had the Edmonton Eskimos beaten and also the BC Lions, only to lose it in the final moments of the ball game. And they tell me they played extremely well against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as well. The thing, however, to remember is that the Argos do not beat themselves. They don't have a great football team, but they don't make an awful lot of mistakes offensively. They have only lost 3 fumbles all season. They have only been intercepted 7 times, and since Condredge has come back in, they have lost only 3 pass interceptions. So this is going to be a good football game. The odds makers have established the Toronto Argonauts as 7.5-point favorites. Boy, if it was legal to bet in this country, you'd have to chunk it all on Calgary, because I think they can beat them straight up. But we'll wait and see what does happen. Number 15 is Ron Hopkins. Number 23 is Gary Allen. And number 81 is Jamie Harris. And they will be deep for the Calgary Stampeders as Hank Olisic, who can really boom these kickoffs and has the best length in the business for 1986, is prepared to do the job. This is Ron Hopkins having an awful lot of trouble corralling that ball. Finally decides to fall on it at the 10-yard line, and right away the Calgary Stampeders will find themselves in a hole simply because on this hot human night, the 65-yard kickoff is not returned, period. So there's the way they will line up. Gary Allen, a very controversial figure that head coach Bob Vespasiani says the whole thing has been overplayed. We think he's a great back, and we think he can help us, and he is not a problem at all. And a very talented group of receivers led by Ray Alexander and Emmanuel Tolbert. Let's watch as Rick Johnson, who has thrown 12 touchdown passes, begins his night's work. And he does so by handing off to Gary Allen, who cuts into about the 13-yard line for a pickup of 3. And the middle linebacker, David Marshall, number 73, along with Don Moan, number 36, the linebacker to his right, were there to make the stop.
Rick Johnson really so far in 1986 just brilliant with those 12 touchdown passes. He has, however, thrown 12 interceptions, so he is prone to giving it up, and tough part of the field to work for him here.
He throws complete to Allen. Allen is fighting for the 20-yard line. He may come up about a 1.5 feet short. Don Moan was there to prevent him from getting the first down yardage, but referee Bobby Bryan signals for the yardsticks to come in. Now, it'll be very interesting to see what Bob Vespasiani would elect to do here. If he is, in fact, a 1.5 feet short, do you go for it on 3rd down with the ball on your 20-yard line? He is just short.
Well, once again, look at Gary Allen, number 23, the rookie for the Stampeders, and Don Moan, number 36, who's just had an outstanding year so far for the Toronto Argonauts, comes up and just makes an excellent tackle, forces Allen back to the inside. That's where he's going to get help if he does break a tackle. But we've got a gambling situation already for Calgary.
Boy, and this really is a gamble. At their 20-yard line, mind you, you've got to give the yard off the ball, but what happens if You know, you mishandle the pass from center. Let's watch and see. Johnson likely to keep it himself. He does, and he has the first down.
Yeah, I suspect 99 times out of 100, if the quarterback can just take the ball and fall forward, you have no trouble picking up the first down on maybe a wet night, or if it was pouring rain. You might think twice in that situation. Willie Pless, number 32, at outside linebacker for the Argonauts, last week's Pacific Defensive Star of the Week, and he's been everything that they expected from him. The rookie from Oklahoma State, just an outstanding. 3 interceptions already this year, a couple of sacks. Kansas State.
So it is first down, Calgary. The ball is at their 21.5-yard line. Johnson with a good fake, looks, throws, and the pass is complete for another Calgary first down. Ray Alexander was there to make the grab for the Stampeders. Kerry Parker, starting his first ball game on the corner for the Argonauts tonight, was there to make the stop.
That's the one significant change for the Argonauts tonight defensively is number 17, Kerry Parker, on that cornerback spot. Darrell Wilson is not in the lineup tonight, so Carl Brazeley will move inside and play that inside halfback position.
Rick Johnson. Nobody has made a bigger impression at the quarterback spot this year than this young man. Controversial, maybe, but he certainly has shown that he can throw the football as he hits Jamie Harris on an out. And again, Kerry Parker was forced to come up and force him out of bounds. The pickup will be about 7 yards. It'll be 2nd and 3, and everybody who knows Rick Johnson says he's as nice a young man as you could possibly hope to meet. I had a little chat with him yesterday at the Calgary workout, and he seems to be all of that. But the biggest thing in his favor as a quarterback is he's got a rifle for an arm. It is 2nd down and 3 yards to go. Johnson looks, fires, and again the catch is made. And this time it was Emmanuel Tolbert in front of Kerry Parker.
Well, it sure didn't go a long way, but experience really tells Emmanuel Tolbert only needed a few yards to pick up that first down. Able to get it. 25 catches so far in 1986, 3 touchdowns. They have been so productive offensively. You know, I mentioned in the opening, you always thought of them as a great defensive team, but how about Ray Alexander? Already 6 touchdowns. Tolbert with 3. Jamie Harris with 2, so they're really getting that production.
Well, Johnson is really spreading it around tonight. He's 4 for 4 and to 4 different receivers. This time the toss goes to Gary Allen. He finds the hole, and Allen squirts through for very close to 8 yards before Willie Pless is there to bring him down. But they do have that Argonaut defense off balance at the moment. Stampeders, incidentally, have won 2 against the East. They have not lost this year as we take a look at Willie Pless.
Well, he's got some great lateral movement. I guess the only knock on him at 5'10", 210 pounds, that he was just too small for the NFL, and that's the way a lot of linebackers get into the CFL. Great mobility, and he's a tough hitter as well.
Again, the toss goes to Allen. And again, the former National Football League running back is there to pick up a first down for the Stampeders. He was with both Houston and Dallas and enjoyed a legitimate career in the NFL for about 4 seasons.
Yeah, he was mainly a punt returner with the Dallas Cowboys. They had him for 3 years, but early it seems that when they want to run the ball in that short yardage, they go to the right side. Big Kari Lee Renko, the right tackle. Why not? 6'5", 272. 4 years pro experience, 2 now with the Stampeders. I think I might run behind him, too.
This is a good drive by the Stampeders. They've held the ball since the opening kickoff. And now Johnson goes deep looking for Tolbert, who was in behind Brazeley, but the pass was overthrown. The first incompletion of the night for quarterback Rick Johnson, who came into this ball game having completed 55% of his passes.
Well, let's have a look at Emmanuel Tolbert working downfield. Now, Carl Brazeley's had to make a switch this week. He's been playing corner for 2 years now. He has to come into that inside safety spot. Your reads, your alignment with your hips and everything changes, but he does an excellent job staying with Emmanuel.
Stampeders have had the ball for 4 minutes, 45 seconds. They have moved it from their own 10 into the Toronto 53-yard line. It is 2nd down, 10 yards to go, Stampeders. The first time they've been in a 2nd and 10 all night. And the pass is complete to Ray Alexander at the 35-yard line. Marcellus Green was the defensive back on the coverage, but Alexander, as he has done so often this series, made a sensational catch off the pass thrown by Rick Johnson and picks up 18 yards.
Well, watch Dennis Clay, number 14, safety blitz coming. He just doesn't get there quick enough, and Rick Johnson's able to step up. He takes the hit and delivers a strike to number 88. Ray Alexander, he's been the favorite target so far this year, and he makes another good move across the middle and a nice catch.
31 catches coming in, 6 of them for touchdowns. Johnson sets up the screen to Allen. Well, it was Dennis Clay that really ruined that play. Clay was able to make penetration for Toronto, and he forced Allen to just break out from behind his blocking and try to do it on his own, and there were too many people to beat.
I think Rick Johnson wanted to give that ball to him just a little sooner, but Gary Allen got tied up with his offensive lineman, couldn't get free of them. When he does, Dennis Clay's right in the backfield, forces him back inside. He makes a heck of a play.
So it's another 2nd and 10 situation for the Calgary Stampeders at the Toronto 35-yard line. The pass is complete to Marshall Toner, the rookie from the University of Saskatchewan, but it only picks up 5 yards. So we will see J.T. Hay and the Calgary field goal unit. Now, this is what Toronto has done all season long. They've given up a lot of yardage, but they have given up very few touchdowns.
Boy, you're so right, and it's so deflating for a defense to give up the big play and the offense as well, the entire team. But Toronto has had that great ability to, as Pat said, give up a little bit of yardage. They've given up points, that's for sure, but not the big deflating big play.
J.T. Hayes' field goal try will come from the 37-yard line. Toronto may have been offside. A flag comes down. Hayes' field goal is good. But it appeared as though Toronto jumped offside, and if in fact that is the case, the Stampeders will be within inches of another first down.
Well, if you can believe Rick Johnson, he says they've got a first down.
The penalty was Toronto offside.
Now, they might be a little bit short.
I think they're just inches short, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they are. You can see it from here. They might not even measure that one.
Repeated. Toronto, offside, number 78, 3rd down.
Darrell Goodlow, the right defensive end, who was actually lined up on the left side of the Argonaut defense on that play, jumped. And as a result, it's 3rd and inches, and the Stampeders are going to go for it. So take the 3 points off the scoreboard and make it 3rd and inches for Calgary. The ball is right at the Toronto 25-yard line. Johnson has the first down. He's at the 24. They only needed 2 or 3 inches. They have the first down.
Well, they put a great drive together here. I don't know how many plays been so far, but they started deep in their own territory after Ron Hopkins fumbled that opening kickoff all over the place. And just some timely pass plays. Rick Johnson to Ray Alexander. Emmanuel Tolbert picked up a first down. 13 plays so far in this drive.
Rick Johnson was limping as he was heading back to that Calgary huddle. He hasn't practiced most of the week because he has had a sprained ankle. So it's first down, Stampeders. The ball is at the Toronto 24-yard line. Johnson fires the out to Toner. And Marshall Toner, the 6'2", 195-pound graduate of the University of Saskatchewan, has 8 yards.
How about this guy, Marshall Toner? Now, he's a Western Collegiate All-Star in 1984-85. He's All-Canadian in 1985. Nobody drafts him. He writes to every CFL team asking for a tryout. The Calgary Stampeders are the only team that'll answer his letters. Bud Riley says, we want you to come to training camp. He said, you mean the mini camp? He said, no, we want you to come to the big camp. He's made the team 20 catches so far this year. It's an unbelievable story.
Johnson's pass was intended for Ray Alexander. The ball was behind Alexander, who had slipped in making his post cut.
You know, talking about Marshall Toner, he went to that evaluation camp they have every year at BC Place, where they bring all the top collegiate players in Canada in, evaluate them to get ready for the draft, and I guess nobody liked what they saw. But here's a guy who's 20 catches already this year, and you know, I talked to some of the Calgary people, the media as well as the players, and they say, geez, the guy can do it all. So you wonder how a guy slips by like that.
Well, I think it says a lot for Bud Riley, who brought a lot of these guys in here last year when he was also the head coach. And there's never been any question that Bud could assess talent. On 3rd and 2, J.T. Hay will try the field goal again, and once again he is good. This one, however, will count because there are no flags down, and the Calgary Stampeders have jumped out in front of the Toronto Argonauts 3-0. We'll be back in just a moment. Stampeders all the credit in the world. They held the ball for 8 minutes, 34 seconds, culminating in J.T. Hayes' field goal. The Stampeders lead it 3-0 as Kirtland Thomas, number 72 from the University of Missouri at Columbia, and Craig Ellis, the former Saskatchewan outstanding running back, number 23, await the kickoff from J.T. Hay, and it will be Craig Ellis from his 20-yard line. Good return by Craig Ellis out to the 48-yard line, and that will not hurt his 22.3 return average, as the Toronto Argonauts will finally get their hands on the football. Little Mel Jenkins, number 28, was down to make the stop after a 28-yard return by the Argos' number 23, Craig Ellis. Condredge Holloway with Ellis and Warren Hudson in the backfield. An outstanding group of receivers. Chris Woods and Paul Pearson and Darrell Smith all had big games last week against the Eskimos. Well, this can't be a time count violation because we've got 7 seconds left on the time clock, so we'll see what referee Bobby Bryan has to say.
No penalty. Reset the clock, please.
Well, nothing more needs to be said. They will have an additional 20 seconds, but they won't need it because the Argos are ready to roll. First down at their 48-yard line. First time they've had the football tonight. Holloway looks, throws. Ellis makes a sensational catch off the deflection inside the Calgary 35 to the 34-yard line. It was Anthony Woodson, the linebacker, number 96, who deflected the ball, and watch this catch by Craig Ellis that will turn into a 28-yard gain.
Well, Anthony Woodson really has the range at 6'2" to get back in that linebacking spot, but he should have had the interception there. But give Craig Ellis credit. He was alert enough to catch the tip, and nice way to start if you're an Argonaut.
They have the ball at the Calgary 34. Stampeders haven't had a whole lot of luck in 1986, but let's see what they can do now. Well, don't be surprised if this happens frequently tonight. Eric Emery was there to make the quarterback sack for the Calgary Stampeders, who have registered the most sacks of any team in the CFL in 1986. Matter of fact, they had 28 coming into tonight's ball game.
And in my chat with Condredge Holloway yesterday, we talked about Calgary's defense, and he said, you know, they're so difficult to prepare for because they play so many coverages and so many blitzes, so many different things. They're a tough team to work against.
It's 3-0 Stampeders over the Argonauts, and we'll be back in a moment.
There's some trouble with the scoreboard right now. There's been a delay on the field. They can't quite get it to work, and the rain is starting to come down as we're both set to get play back underway.
And actually, the problem is with the 20-second clock. It's located just underneath the scoreboard, and it is now not functioning as you hear the roar of the thunder. As Holloway on 2nd and 13 has problems, drops the football. The Argos recover back at the Calgary 50. Well, this Calgary defense really has been outstanding all season long. They're hoping for a big night tonight. 28 sacks coming in. You can credit them with another one tonight. And on that particular play, add yet another. So it's 30 sacks already in their 6th game.
They're a reckless crew on defense. You know, they go against all the odds when they're playing. They'll run a safety blitz or something, and Condredge tells me they'll play zone behind it, which is very unusual. You can see the rain coming down here at Exhibition Stadium. A little bit of lightning preceded that thunder, and we knew there was a big storm coming in. How big, we're not sure.
Well, here's big thunder right now, Hank Alyssa. But he gets this one off the side of his foot. Alyssa, coming into this ball game, was by far the leading punter in all of Canada. A 50.4-yard average, but this one will only go for about 20. It's 3-0. Stampeders lead it. We'll be back in a moment.
A couple of pointers on the Calgary offense as they go to the field. I asked Ray Alexander if they'd been working on Kerry Parker since 3 of the first 4 receptions were made in front of him, and Ray Alexander says, I don't even know who the kid is. He said, which one is it? The other point, Rick Johnson says the ankle is causing him no trouble setting up. It does not hurt too much, he says.
Well, he is setting up well, and this time he's going deep, looking for Alexander, and he makes a sensational catch. Kerry Parker, number 17, was the cornerback on that side. Ray Alexander has done this 5 or 6 times already, and watch how high he goes to make this catch, a 42-yard gain.
Well, this is why he already has 6 touchdowns so far. At 6'3½", you know, Rick Johnson figures if he puts the ball up and they've got an even foot race going down the sideline, Ray Alexander has an excellent chance to make the catch, and you saw a perfect example of it.
Well, Leaf's point is well made. He's 6'3½". Kerry Parker is 6'1", and of course he has that great leaping ability. The ball from the Toronto 46 as Johnson reloaded and then overthrew the intended receiver, Marshall Toner. But the rain is coming down heavily here now at Exhibition Stadium. This has absolutely been the worst summer in memory. We all feel like mushrooms. It's been so hot and humid every day for the last 2.5 months, and if it doesn't rain, it's overcast.
Would I rate 17 straight days we've had some sort of rain?
I will never complain about BC's weather again. 9 out of 12 so far for Rick Johnson, 105 yards. He has a 2nd and 10 from the Toronto 46. He's determined to go deep to Tolbert. There was definite contact there, Braisley and Tolbert, but there was no flag on the play.
A little bumping going on with Carl Braisley and Emmanuel Tolbert. You can't quite see, well, you see just a touch there, a little right arm push by Carl Braisley, but nothing, I guess, too serious. Rick Johnson's determined that he's going to go deep on any blitzing situation. They've had a couple of halfback blitzes. He's gone deep. That time, Don Moen and Willie Pless were coming again, so he knows he's got one-on-one coverage downfield, and he figures with his receiving core, it's not a bad gamble to go deep.
So averaging over 43 yards a punt, Glenn Harper drops back for his first opportunity tonight. And he puts it high and deep to Kirtland Thomas, who takes it in the end zone and goes down to concede the single point. So the Stampeders increase their lead to 4-0 with 2 minutes and 38 seconds left to play in this opening quarter. That was a 49-yard punt by Harper. And the Argos will take the ball at their 35-yard line.
You know, you heard Conrich Holloway talk in the opening about now he's got a pretty good receiving core in there, and they put a hot package in for the Calgary Stampeders. Well, what that means is each receiver has got quick routes to run when they see a blitz, a halfback blitz or something. So hot means that you better look quick because you're going to get the ball quickly.
Argos begin at their 35. Handoff goes to Craig Ellis, and he's hit back to the line of scrimmage.
Ellis carries.
Many in there, including Harold Hallman, number 99. But neither of these clubs is going to terrify the other with its running attack. They have 2 of the worst in the league. Calgary is 6th, and Toronto is 8th offensive rushing statistically. So,
well, on the other hand, the Calgary Stampeders have given up the most yards rushing on their defense this year. It's tough to run against these guys, though, even though they're last in the league in that department.
The loss was a yard, so make it 2nd and 11. And Holloway's pass is grabbed by number 84, Gene Beliveau. The interception will give the Stampeders possession at the Toronto 35-yard line. And he just outfought everybody for the football.
Well, let's see who was right in Conrich Holloway's face just as he tried to release the football. He's had good pressure all night so far, but I think it was Vince Goldsmith got the tip up there. Watch the great play that a defensive tackle makes. Eugene Beliveau spent some time with the old Montreal Concords, now with the Stampeders the last couple of years, and what a big play to give Rick Johnson great field position.
Johnson fires. The pass is complete to Alexander. He'll pick up 8 before Carl Braisley rides him out of bounds. But Alexander really having a good night as Johnson has put the ball right on the money to him on at least 4 occasions.
Well, that's the test of a quarterback. If you can throw the out to the wide side of the field, and he threw a rope out there to Ray Alexander.
Pat, I know you're asking about Calgary determined to go long. It appears that the reason being they think the Argonaut defensive backs are sitting on the curls watching the short patterns. They want to loosen them up a little bit.
Well, they've had good success on those short outs, too, so far this evening. This time the give is inside to Tim Petrus. Petrus, the University of Calgary grad, picks up 5 yards. And that's just to make them stand off a little bit, too, keep them honest. Darrell Goodlow, number 78, was there to bring him down.
Well, Tim Petras doesn't get a chance to carry the ball too much with Gary Allen in the backfield, but in the 1983 Vanier Cup, he set a record with 267 yards rushing. You and I will never forget that game.
It was a great, great performance. And on that 5-yard carry, he gives Calgary a first down inside the Toronto 25. Johnson going deep. And just beyond the outstretched hands of the intended receiver, number 81, Jamie Harris, with Kerry Parker on the coverage. Harris is a guy who will probably someday end up in Ottawa because he's only 5'9", and it seems that Ottawa loves those 5'9" receivers.
Now, Reggie Butts and Mark Lewis, you're not taking a shot at that.
Not at all. And Mark Bruce, I mean, they're very good receivers, but they're little guys, and this guy would fit right in with them.
Well, so far he's fitting in very well with Calgary Stampeders. Coming into tonight, 4 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Not a bad average.
It's amazing. If you look at Tolbert and Alexander, they've accounted for 9 of Calgary's 13 touchdowns. Johnson's pass, that was his first bad pass of the night as he fired it over the head of Alexander with Marcellus Green on the coverage as the first quarter comes to an end. And boy, they ripped that one off in record time as the Calgary Stampeders enjoy a 4-0 advantage over the Toronto Argonauts, and we'll return with the second quarter in a moment. So we begin the second quarter with J.T. Hayes' 30-yard field goal attempt, which is good. And the Calgary Stampeders have jumped out in front 7-0. Interesting to note about J.T. Hayes, had a great career, of course, with the Stampeders. He has never missed a point after. What an accomplishment for this fellow who started his pro career with the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Got off to a rough start in Ottawa, and, you know, never really panned out. Of course, now he's a very reliable kicker for Calgary. Jerry Organ, he replaced. Jerry came back out of retirement. J.T. Hay went to Calgary.
The Argos find themselves down a converted touchdown. However, it has been 2 field goals by J.T. Hay and a single by Glenn Harper. As you take a look at the dominance of the Stampeders in that first quarter, 134 yards to 10. And the Argonauts are extremely fortunate to only be down by a touchdown.
Well, the offensive line's got to give Conrad Holloway time to throw. They've had a couple of sacks, a couple of tipped balls already.
But Toronto's great success last week against Edmonton was out of the shotgun, so now they're not going to use it. Craig Ellis allows that ball to go out of bounds. Good move on his part. So the Stampeders will be forced to kick off again. But they have been exerting great pressure on Conrad, and you would think that because of the success they had last week, that they would just simply stay in the shotgun. I know it limits your running offense. I mean, they don't have any running offense anyway.
No, I agree. I like that shotgun formation. Bob Obelovich yesterday told us that they'd wanted to put it in earlier in the season, but with so many injuries on the offensive line, new people in each week, and of course Norman Gibbs with not much experience when he was playing quarterback, they just felt like the timing wasn't right. But now that Conrad is back and healthy, get that shotgun going. Boy, the last couple of weeks, he's just been deadly from back there.
Well, Obi is very enthusiastic about this football club. He says it reminds him of his first year here in Toronto in 1982, because he said we have the kind of people we wanted. We had some guys last year that I wasn't nuts about. They're gone. We've got a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of young people who want to play football. And as a result, the Argos are 4-2 and off to a better start than a year ago when they were 3-3.
Well, they've got 2 guys in the receiving corps, Darrell Smith and Kirtland Thomas, who really at the beginning of the season did not figure in the plans. They had Kenny Joyner and Steve Cox starting. They both had injuries. Now these 2 fellas are in there, and they can't get them out. They're playing really well.
Ellis from his 25-yard line. Good return once again by Craig Ellis to midfield. And it was Bernie Morrison who tripped him up. But Don Moen, who was trying to make the block on Morrison, probably had as much to do with it after a 29-yard return by Craig Ellis.
Well, here you get a good look at the wedge. You got Don Moen and Warren Hudson, a few guys leading the way. Craig Ellis just stays right on their behinds until it's time to make a break. And a great field position almost out to midfield. But Bernie Morrison made a heck of a play to make that tackle. There's a group that's been together for a pretty long time, that entire secondary, the Calgary Stampeders. Greg Peterson in his second year, but the other 4 guys at least 3 and 4 years experience.
Well, the Argos again start in good field position at their own 54. The pass is just beyond the outstretched hands of Darrell Smith, number 74. Anthony Woodson, the linebacker, was defending on him.
They were working on this yesterday in practice, where they put Chris Woods, Paul Pearson, and Darrell Smith all to one side of the field, and that time tried to isolate Smith over the middle, but they've got some variations off that triple formation, and it's pretty good stuff. They can open up a guy maybe deep downfield with it.
Smith had an outstanding game against Edmonton. He only caught 2 passes, but both of them went for touchdowns. It's second down, Toronto, 10 yards to go from their 54-yard line. Holloway's pass is incomplete. Again, thanks to some good tackling by Anthony Woodson, who stripped the ball from Darrell Smith, who was trying to make a good catch.
Well, you know, Pat, I think the Argonaut offense is pretty confused right now. Arthur Seltzer, who's their offensive coordinator, is up in the press box now. He's calling all the plays. You had 2nd and 10. You anticipate a real blitzing team to be coming after you in 2nd and 10. That time they dropped everybody off, played zone defense, and I think they had the wrong play called. You know, you can't run man-to-man pass patterns against the zone defense.
Jamie Harris, 81, and Gary Allen, 23, are back to receive this punt from Hank Olisic. It bounces to Jamie Harris, and Harris fights his way out to the 20, and that's where the Stampeders are going to begin. They have been very impressive so far this evening. They lead the Toronto Argonauts 7-0, and we'll be back in just a moment.
We've had a steady drizzle here in C&E Stadium for about the last 12-15 minutes, so this surface will get a little bit slick, especially for the defensive backs. The linebackers for Calgary are having lots of fun today. Eric Emery told me the Argonauts have not done anything they did not expect, although they did anticipate that the Argos might run a little more than they have so far.
Did Bill Stevenson used to use an umbrella?
Dan standing in the rain. Don't you be unkind. First down, Stampeders from the 20. This is Allen. Well, he has no place to go that time. He got to the 22-yard line, no further. Brad Foytik, number 64, and David Marshall, 73. Foytik is the nose tackle, and David Marshall is the middle linebacker. He was there to make the stop. Spotter Alex Ponton points out that it's going to be a long night for Carl Braisley, because he really is playing man-on-man with Emmanuel Tolbert. Wherever Tolbert goes on the field, that's where Braisley goes. So we're talking about a lot of running for Carl Braisley, because Tolbert has been flip-flopping all night. The pass for Alexander is good. Boy, he's a good-looking receiver. Finds the open areas, and he's got a quarterback that can put it right on the money. Alexander makes the catch. Marcellus Green makes the stop.
First down for the Stampeders.
Alexander lets the ball go even before Alexander.
On the Argo 37.
He pushes Marcellus Green down. He thinks he's running the big pattern. Then he cuts the back to
17 yards, the pickup, 5 catches for Alexander. First down, Calgary, and the give is to Tim Petrus. Petrus gets to the 40-yard line. He'll have a pickup of about 3 yards. Rodney Harding, number 77, the defensive end from Oklahoma State University, who has played very well for the Argos all season long, was there to make the tackle. So let's credit Petrus with a 4-yard pickup. Make it second down, 6 yards to go. Johnson steps up, fires again to Alexander. This is really just pitch and catch, and Alexander fights his way to midfield. Kerry Parker and Carl Braisley were both there. But, I mean, this is really some performance by Rick Johnson, and this is the kind of game we expected from him. The youngster from Southern Illinois University played briefly in the USFL, came up to Canada last season and was not impressive. But watch how he delivers this ball to Ray Alexander.
Pretty good looking pattern. Alexander just to the inside, kind of floating out there. Tolbert cleared deep for him, but guy makes some good catches.
Johnson has Tolbert in behind the secondary, and Tolbert is all the way down to the 12-yard line. Cliff Hewitt and Carl Braisley. were the defenders. It was obviously Braisley. He got in behind, and Emmanuel Tolbert, the former Toronto Argonaut, picks up 44 yards.
Well, Pat, you suggested that Carl Braisley was going to have his hands full covering Tolbert all over the field, and I think he just looks a little tired on this play. Tolbert's run so many deep patterns that he just got in behind, and Rick Johnson really feathered that pass in nicely.
It's funny, we have not had the opportunity of seeing Rick Johnson on national TV all that often this year, but every game I've seen him, he's been outstanding, and he's certainly doing that again tonight. First down, Calgary from the Toronto 13. Gary Allen. Allen actually ends up giving up the football, but they will rule that he was down at about the line of scrimmage. Brad Foytik, number 64, was there to bring him down. And we were speaking of Rick Johnson. He's been good on 13 of 19 passes tonight for 185 yards. He has the Stampeders in front 7-0 and threatening to add to that lead right now.
Oh, well, Rick Johnson, he can get the job done. They lost last week to BC, as you all know, but 22 of 39 in that game for 374 yards, so he's just been amazing.
Well, he's the brightest quarterback prospect since Matt Dunnigan, no question about that. Touchdown, Emmanuel Tolbert in behind Carl Braisley. And in fairness to Carl Braisley, the guy has played his career at the corner. Because of the injury, they had to move him inside, put Kerry Parker on the corner, and there's no question that Rick Johnson has been noticing the flaws, and he's had a field day.
Yeah, it gets pretty tough. When you follow a guy all over the field and you're constantly playing man-to-man coverage, you know, your alignments change every time you go to cover a guy, it's easy for the receiver. He can just make those moves going downfield, and Tolbert's had a pretty good couple of moves on this drive.
Bet you JT makes it.
What was your first clue?
It's a 14-0 ball game for the Stampeders. Let's watch that touchdown pass from quarterback Rick Johnson to Emmanuel Tolbert.
Oh, once again, he just feathers it up over the top. Tolbert sees it all the way. Braisley's back turn. Easy touchdown.
It's 14-0 for the Stampeders. We'll be back with their kickoff in just a moment. Stampeders lead at Argos really have their work cut out for them because the Stampeders have the second best defensive record points against in the CFL. The kickoff comes to Craig Ellis at his 25. And this time he's contained inside the 35 at about the 34-yard line. Down very quickly once again was Mel Jenkins, number 28. Anthony Woodson, 96, was there as well. Well, 90 yards and 7 plays. The fact is that Calgary has not had great field position, but they've been able to move the football virtually every time they've got their hands on it.
Yeah, that opening drive was really pretty. They only got a field goal from J.T. Have this time. They had another great drive and Tolbert's touchdown.
Holloway's pass is caught by Paul Pearson. He has the first down out to the Toronto 51-yard line. Boy, if it makes sense to have the most injury-prone quarterback rolling out against a team that will, I mean, just what they want to do is kill you. And we've got Conridge Holloway rolling out, taking hits. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, he takes a pretty good hit here from number 35, or actually number 96, Anthony Woodson, just as he releases that football, but Paul Pearson makes a nice fingertip catch.
It's first down from their own 51-yard line for the Argos. This is Craig Ellis. And Ellis just couldn't get around the corner. He got to midfield for a pickup of 4 yards. Greg Peterson, number 24, was there to bring him down.
Pat, to get back to Paul Pearson for just a moment, he was telling us before the Argonaut offense went on the field that they have not yet lost confidence. He says the reason they haven't scored is not because Calgary's defense is playing so well. He says their offense is playing very poorly.
Well, it's got to be one or the other, I would suspect, Dan, wouldn't you? It's second down. They credit him actually with a 6-yard gain, so make it 2nd and 4. Holloway fires the screen to Warren Hudson, and Hudson fights his way to the Calgary 45-yard line, and he will have a first down. Warren Hudson and Bob Bronk are fighting it out for that fullback spot, and the reason that Hudson has been getting over, they like his pass receiving ability better.
And what a great call on 2nd and long. Everybody was coming on the blitz. They just let them come right through, flip it off to Hudson, and that's a big first down. Toronto's really trying to get something established here. They trail 14-0. They'd like to put a good drive together.
Calgary 45. Holloway looks, there is nobody open. He takes it himself. And he slides down inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. Courage is a word that has to be associated with Conrad Holloway.
Yeah, I told him the other day, we were talking on the phone, I said, when you roll out of the pocket and start running, I said, you look like Walter Brennan from the old Real McCoy show. And here, watch Walter Brennan run. There he's hopping along and then takes a good dive before the tackle by Greg Peterson comes.
On the Calgary 32.
He'll do anything to win, and he's trying to get this Toronto offense fired up. They're in the hole, 14 points with 6:50 left to play in this first half. Argos have a first down at the Calgary 33. Holloway looks, fires to Pearson. Pearson makes the catch. And let's see, they'll give him about the 24-yard line, which would leave him a yard and a half short. Larry Hogue, number 14, and Bernie Morrison, 72, combine on the tackle. He really drilled that one in there.
Yeah, really does. He's not taking quite as deep a drop as he has in the past few games. Wants to get rid of the ball a little quicker this week, and Paul Pearson just hooks up about 8 yards and makes a nice catch in front of Larry Hogue.
That's an interesting point that you raised, because Bob Obilovich was saying yesterday one of the reasons they like the shotgun formation is that it puts Holloway back where he should be. He has a tendency not to drop back deep enough, and because he is short, he sometimes has the ball deflected. The give is to Craig Ellis. Boy, was he drilled.
Boy, number 84, Eugene Beliveau, met him at the line of scrimmage and really delivered a solid hit. I don't think they got the first down.
Belivau's had a big night. He already has an interception, and he has a quarterback sack, and now he delivers the big hit on Craig Ellis as he was looking for a first down. And you're right, Leaf, they are short, and they're short by plenty. Well, the better part of a yard.
Well, Obi trails by 14 points. He's got his team in good scoring position. Why not take a shot? Third down.
It's less than a yard. I mean, you've got to take your shot down by 2 touchdowns. Well, it's close again, but I suspect he made it.
Boy, last time Craig Ellis, as he went in the line, saw everybody flying over the top at him. That time he put his head down, tried to sneak underneath everybody.
It is a first down for the Argonauts. 5.5 minutes left to play in a half that has gone very quickly.
Ball is on the Calgary 22.
Boy, he just got underneath number 96, Anthony Woodson, and we've mentioned his name a number of times in this half. Should have had an interception early. Tipped one that Craig Ellis made a great catch on.
Ball is at the Stampeder 23-yard line. First down, Toronto. And Holloway goes to the end zone for Pearson, and it's knocked away by number 14, Larry Hogue. There is a penalty marker down in the end zone.
For Pearson, it leaps.
Well, number 14, sorry, Pat, Larry Hogue had great position that time on Paul Pearson. He's been around for 4 years, lots of experience. Only a little guy, but really quick back there in the secondary.
I think he's been called for pass interference.
That's probably why he had such good coverage.
The flag was thrown while the ball was in the air, so he may have put the clutch on him as Pearson was trying to go by him.
Defensive forward pass interference, Calgary numbers 96. First down.
And Anthony Woodson, 96, is called for pass interference.
Well, Pearson had a great shot to make this catch, but at the last second, Larry Hogue's hand came out and knocked it away.
The ball's at the 13-yard line. First down, Toronto. So obviously the interference was not on Pearson, it was on somebody else. This time Pearson makes the catch at the 5-yard line, and he is wrapped up in a hurry too. Number 35, Eric Emery, was one of those there to make the stop, and Mel Jenkins, 28, was the other.
You know, that's really, it's only going to go for about 7 yards, but that really is a great catch that Paul Pearson made because he had to go high in the air. He knew he had Eric Emery and Bernie Morrison coming at it from either side. You've got to catch the ball so quickly, tuck it away before you take the hit.
Well, Paul ranks 3rd in all-time Toronto pass receiving behind Terry Greer and Dick Shadow. This is Craig Ellis looking for the end zone, does not get there. Bernie Morrison really was over there quickly. And he contained Ellis to a gain of about a yard.
Well, you know, Bernie's got the experience. He's been around from 9 years in the league from Manitoba. Originally an outside linebacker, moved into the middle now, and he's really got the quickness to get to the outside, as you saw him bring down Craig Ellis.
Going to spot the ball just inside the 4.
Watch Bernie Morrison at the left of your screen, number 72. He's sliding out, fight off a block, slide out, wrap him up high, and, boy, that's a great tackle.
And again, it's a gambling situation for Toronto. It's 3rd down, about a yard to go.
Now, both teams tonight have been very successful on their 3rd down gambles.
This is about a half a yard to go for the 1st down. The give is to Ellis. Touchdown, Argonauts. His 3rd touchdown of 1986 for Craig Ellis, who just refused to give up and fought his way into that Calgary end zone to put the Argos back in the football game.
Pretty nice job of blocking along that left side. Calvin Princeton and Dan Ferroni. A lead block by Warren Hudson, number 37. He just drilled Anthony Woods, and what a great block that was. Ellis, with some determination, gets into the end zone. Argos' first major of the night.
There has not been a point after missed in 1986 by any CFL team, and it has not happened here this evening.
You keep trying to jinx somebody saying that all the time.
No, I'm trying to make people aware of it, because to me it's an unusual statistic and one that you certainly never see in the NFL.
Watch the block right at the bottom, 37, Warren Hudson. He crunches Anthony Woodson.
So it's now a 14-7 ball game. Stampeders out in front. We'll be back with the Toronto kickoff in a moment. 75 yards in 10 plays, culminating in Craig Ellis's 3rd running touchdown of the season, his 5th of 1986. As Hank Olisic prepares to kick it away to the Calgary Stampeders, who have given up a touchdown but still lead it 14-7. Ronnie Hopkins, number 15, and Jamie Harris, 81, are ready for Hank Olisic. The rain is really pouring down right now. What a kickoff. Hopkins is back to his goal line. Graisley's the only one that can catch him. And he does at the 15-yard line, but what a return. 95 yards, the return by Ronnie Hopkins to the Toronto 15-yard line. Leaf, does this guy have some speed?
Well, he's a little guy, 5'10", but he's like lightning coming up. Watch, he breaks it to the outside. A couple of good blocks there, but Willie Pless missed the initial tackle, and Hank's not going to make the tackle. 95 yards, and what a way to answer a touchdown.
Let's give Carl Braisley some credit, too. He's been running all over the field trying to catch Emmanuel Tolbert all night.
Carl's going to think he's been at a track meet today.
But what a return by Hopkins. Stampeders have the ball at the Toronto 15. Johnson fires. Incomplete. Boy, there were a lot of folks there. There were 2 Calgary receivers, 2 Argo defenders.
Johnson pass intended for a corner, incomplete.
Well, the 2 receivers got in the same area because the pass pattern just was never there, and guys just kept running and ran into each other. But good defense by the Argos. Sit back in a zone for a change, and nobody came open.
So it'll be 2nd and 10, Stampeders from the Toronto 15 with 3 minutes left.
Sorry, Pat. They've given Rick Johnson plenty of protection tonight. Time to throw. Rodney Harding, who's been having some good games, really hasn't got close at all.
Little play action fake, then fire to the end zone. Touchdown, Stampeders. Jamie Harris pulls off a Ray Alexander. He goes high in the air, grabs the pass. The Stampeders very quickly answer that Toronto touchdown, and they'll be back in front by 2 converted majors again.
It's not bad. 3 plays, 7 points, kickoff return, throw an incomplete pass, and then little play action, find Jamie Harris open in the corner. But once again, it was the great protection that offensive line is giving Rick Johnson.
These guys are outstanding. I mean, there is 13 touchdowns of 16 scored by the Stampeders this year, accounted by 3 receivers, 6 by Alexander, 4 by Tolbert, and now 3 by Jamie Harris. What a passing attack by Rick Johnson, and we'll see lots more of it. We'll break away for a minute with the Stampeders out in front, 21-7, and we'll be back with their kickoff in a moment. 2 minutes, 55 seconds left to play in the first half. It's been raining most of the ball game. It has not affected the Stampeders. They lead the Argos 21-7. 2 plays, 15 yards. But let's not forget there was a 95-yard kickoff return by Ron Hopkins that set the whole thing up. Stampeders have been impressive in all facets of their game tonight. Now let's see if the Argos number 72, Kirtland Thomas, or Craig Ellis, 23, can do something with this J.P. Hay kickoff. It's kicked to Ellis at his 26. Well, what a return by Craig Ellis. Down to the 39-yard line. Larry Hogue, number 14, was there to bring him down, but they're going up and down the field tonight. That is not surprising. That's the kind of game we expected. A 45-yard kickoff return, this time by Craig Ellis.
This is fun to watch. I mean, this is exciting. We got Ronnie Hopkins doing it, Craig Ellis doing it, Rick Johnson's having a great night. I mean, this is entertainment.
And really, 1986 has been the year of CFL entertainment because virtually every game has been similar to this. First down, Argos from the Calgary 39. And Holloway will be sacked for the 3rd time tonight, back at his 46-yard line. James Walker, number 77, the Kansas State University 2-year pro, was there to bring him down, along with Harold Hallman, number 99. Hallman's had a very good game tonight from his defensive tackle spot for the Stampeders.
Well, initially they gave Conrad Holloway enough time to get the ball away, but a good job downfield forced the Argonaut offensive line to have to block a little longer than they could hold out those guys. James Walker gets a 2nd sack, 1986.
So Holloway goes into the shotgun now on 2nd down and 17, and he puts it up looking for Smith, and it's just beyond his outstretched hands.
You know, the Stampeders really have the ideal defense to take all those gambles on passing situations. That time, once again, they came with the blitz, but they've got 4 guys back there that can really play man-to-man coverage. Ronnie Hopkins, Richie Hall, Larry Hogue, and Mel Jenkins are all cornerbacks originally. Of course, Richie Hall and Larry Hogue playing inside at the safeties, but man-to-man, these guys are tough.
Strangely enough, the Stampeders have the fewest number of interceptions in the league at 6, but that's probably because they have the most sacks.
Well, you know, it's tough when you play a lot of man-to-man defense. It's tough to get interceptions. The teams that lead, you know, usually play a fair bit of zone as well.
Lisic's punt will go out of bounds at the Calgary 10-yard line with 2:08 left to play in this first half. At halftime, well, we will find out from the commissioner of the CFL, Mr. Doug Mitchell, his decisions over the Hamilton Ticat protest against these very same Calgary Stampeders. Hamilton claiming that there was time left on the clock, and there is no doubt that there was at least 1 second left. And the commissioner will tell you why he disallowed their protest. The overtime issue will also be discussed. And the Pacific Western Stars of the week, Conrad Holloway, was the offensive star, and we'll do a nice close-up on him. And here's a fellow who'll have a good chance of winning it this week, Rick Johnson, who hands the ball off to Gary Allen. Allen just wanting to make sure that he retains possession, gets to about the 13-yard line, as the Stampeders will now try to run off some time.
Pat, you'll be interested to know as we get set to watch the latest chapter in the battle between Emmanuel Tolbert and Carl Brazeley that both parties deny that Carl is running out of gas. Tolbert says he's not any slower, and Brazeley says he's just having trouble adapting to playing in the inside, as you mentioned earlier.
It won't help Carl if he has to chase Ronnie Hopkins 95 yards like he did a few moments ago. Johnson's pass was intended for Tolbert, but this time it goes over his head. So with 1:41, the clock stops. And Glenn Harper, the punter for the Calgary Stampeders, comes back out onto the field.
But I think Rick Johnson...
Right, this will be his second, excuse me.
I think Rick Johnson just threw that thing away. You know, he's had 12 interceptions this year, and certainly that wasn't a time to get a little risky deep in your own territory. Throw it away. Hope Harper can bail you out with a pretty good punt here. Argonauts only send 1 man back, 11 guys up on that line of scrimmage.
Kirtland Thomas is the lone back, as Glenn Harper, just a two-stepper, and he gets it away. No problems at all. Thomas, from the 48-yard line, dances his way into the 40. So the Argos will have lots of time. They will have possession at the Calgary 40-yard line. They've got 1 minute and 32 seconds to add to their meager total of 7 points. Next Friday night, we will be in the nation's capital, where the BC Lions, the #1 team in the Canadian Football League, sitting atop the Western Conference standings, will be the visitors. Ottawa will be fired up next week. Joe Moss will have put them through some drills that
Boot camp.
The U.S. Marines would will. Holloway's pass is caught by Chris Woods at the 25-yard line. Mel Jenkins was there to bring him down right away, but Chris Woods, who has had leg problems all season long, comes up limping once again.
Holloway's pass completed to Woods.
But nobody comes from the sidelines as Holloway connects with Chris Woods for a pickup of 17.
Yeah, O'Conrad's really stepped up well in the pocket, too. That the tackles take their defensive ends wide. That's when the quarterback's got to step up and deliver that ball. He did it perfectly. Woods made a pretty good catch.
First down, Argos at the Calgary 25. Holloway from the shotgun looks, fires, and this one is picked up. Ronnie Hopkins. What a half he's had. A 95-yard kickoff return, and then he steps in front of Darrell Smith and steals the football to give Calgary possession at their own 2-yard line.
Well, Ronnie Hopkins comes up with his second interception of the year, but he reacts so well to the football. The pattern's a little late in developing. He leaves his man, Kirtland Thomas, slides over in front, and makes a heck of a nice play.
So the Stampeders have the ball deep in their own territory, but they have the football. They have the lead, 21-7. And you can rest assured that Rick Johnson is going to play it very close to the vest at this point. Boy, he's had a great half. It's going to be interesting to see what his statistics are, because the dominance of the Stampeder offense has been overwhelming here so far.
Well, I felt sorry for him last week to go 22 of 39 for 374 yards and lose.
It's 15 for 23 for 211 yards so far.
Well, he's well on his way to a possible 400-yard day.
Tim Petras bangs his way out close to the 10-yard line to give that offense a little bit of breathing room. And the best part is, of course, that the clock now starts again, as Condredge Holloway, who was simply magnificent in the Argo victory over Edmonton last week, is having a much rougher time against this Calgary defense tonight. It's second down, 4 yards to go. Stampeders. And again, Tim Petras is the ball carrier, and this time he picks up the necessary yardage for the first down out to the 16-yard line. Willie Pless finally brings him down.
Boy, what a bonus that is to have when you're backed up, to be able to run the ball to get yourself a first down when you're trying to run out the clock. Rob Smith, Bob Poley, and Kari Lee Renko along that right side of the line did an excellent job allowing Tim Petras to get through and pick up that first down. They can run it out now.
I can't believe Bob Poley's only been here 9 years. It seems to me he's been playing since I started watching this game.
Well, he played with me in Regina for a couple of years. He's a great guy.
Gary Allen, the ball carrier. Again, Willie Pless brings him down, and the Stampeders, with a nice 14-point lead, are just going to run the clock out, and that's good football. Pickup of about 5 yards by Gary Allen on that play. The clock will run down, and this will be the final play of the first half, barring a penalty. Now, Gary Allen's stats haven't been that impressive, but at least he's kept that Argo defense honest. Rick Johnson goes down on one knee. What a half for the Calgary Stampeders. They're 2-4 on the season, but those of you who have watched these stats know that they're a good football club, and boy, they are showing it to the Toronto Argonauts here this evening, because at the end of the first half of play, it is Calgary 21, Toronto 7. Well, there's no question about the dominant club in this football game. You see Calgary leads on the scoreboard 21-7. Look at the net yards, 263-85, and not included in that was a 95-yard kickoff return by Ronnie Hopkins, which has to be considered the biggest play of this ball game lead.
Well, I think it really was, Pat. At that point, the Calgary Stampeders were ahead. The Argonauts had just scored on them. It was 14-7. Now Ronnie Hopkins takes the kickoff. Missed tackle by Willie Pless down the sidelines. A great play by Carl Braisley to stop him from going all the way, but a 95-yard kickoff return, and we've just seen some super plays in this first half of football.
And then, of course, the Stampeders capitalized on it by scoring on the Rick Johnson touchdown pass. And now the Stampeders are ready to do more. They are set for the kickoff, and they do not kick it deep. It bounces, however, to Craig Ellis, gets it at the 28. And Ellis has really shown a lot of determination tonight. He puts his head down and fights his way to the 45. So the Argos will be pleased with that field position as they take over 1st and 10 at that point. Now, Condredge Holloway will, of course, start at quarterback. The Argos are just a different team with Holloway in there rather than Norman Gibbs or anybody else. Craig Ellis and Warren Hudson are slated to start in that backfield, but as a matter of fact, it's Bob Bronk instead of Hudson. Holloway's pass is complete to Chris Woods, and he did what he wanted to do, break that first tackle. And he steps out of bounds. Let's see where they mark it. He may be about 6 inches short of the first down. He was very nonchalant as he got to that yardstick.
You know, he makes a great catch, and he got a super block from Paul Pearson on the cornerback Mel Jenkins, but why he just kind of loafed out of bounds is beyond me. He could have turned it upfield and at least tried to plow through a tackle for an extra yard and pick up the first down. I think they're a little bit short.
Well, as a matter of fact, they made it, but this is my pet peeve again. They've got the yardsticks on this side of the field. At the first half, they had them on the far side, and now they just have a post up. If that makes any sense to anybody, I don't know why they do it. I think they do it simply to irritate me. I'm convinced of that now.
Well, they've done a good job of doing that then.
It's first down, Toronto. The ball is at the Calgary 54-yard line. Pass is caught by Paul Pearson, and Pearson gets about 5 yards to the 49-yard line. Mel Jenkins was there to make the tackle immediately.
You know, yesterday when I was watching the Argo practice, they ran that quick screen to Chris Woods, and 2 receivers, Paul Pearson and Darrell Smith, come out to block. But what they do also is they fake that screen to Chris Woods and throw deep to either Pearson or Darrell Smith, who faked the block. And I hope they throw that play in tonight because it's really pretty.
Second down and 4 yards to go. Holloway's pass was intended for Paul Pearson. It was knocked down by number 27, Richie Hall, on a fine defensive play just as Pearson was anticipating making the catch.
Well, Richie Hall is only 5'6", but he has tremendous quickness in that time. Just as it appeared as though Paul Pearson was going to make that catch, Richie Hall just accelerated those last few steps, stepped in front, and knocked the ball away.
And the important part of that is it has now prevented Toronto from getting that early score to begin the second half. Stampeders will end up with the football. However, it'll be in the end zone because Hank Olisic has just boomed one. It'll be interesting to see how far his longest punt of this evening traveled. 62 yards. He really hung it up there as the Argos register their 8th point of the ball game. It is Calgary 21, Toronto 8. We'll be back in a moment.
Stampeders lead 21.
Professional sport on this continent. If you're going to order it from the league's head office, add $3 for handling. First down, Stampeders from their 35. Rick Johnson's pass is caught, but the gain will only be a couple of yards. Tim Petrus made the catch. Carl Braisley was there to make the tackle.
Here's Rob Smith you got to look at playing right guard for the Calgary Stampeders. Spent the last few seasons with the Montreal Concords and 5 years in the league. Utah State's done a pretty good job tonight, affording Chris Johnson the time to pick out his receivers.
Johnson's pass is caught by Tolbert, and he maintained his balance. He took a tremendous hit. Emmanuel Tolbert manages to get into the Toronto 37-yard line. Watch the collision. Cliff Hewitt and Tolbert manages to hang on to the football.
Well, there it is. Tolbert, just great concentration. He knew he was going to get hit by Cliff Hewitt. Number 14, Dennis Clay, also appearing on the scene, but You know what? You know, it gives the quarterback such confidence in his receivers when they go down and make the big catches. Ray Alexander in the first half with a high catch. Now Tolbert takes the big hit. Great to watch.
And for the first time tonight, the Toronto defense gets to the Calgary quarterback. David Marshall, number 73, the middle linebacker, blitzing on the play, gets to the Calgary quarterback to register the sack. And the loss will be 6 yards, make it 2nd and 16.
Well, I think that's a good scheme by the Argonauts because they've got to try and upset the momentum and rhythm of Rick Johnson. So they came with the blitz. That time, number 73, David Marshall, the middle linebacker, on a stunt with his defensive lineman, Brad Foytik, came around, picked up his 2nd sack of the season.
Johnson's pass is picked on. Carl Braisley. And they don't come any tougher than that guy. Braisley with a key play. He may have been beaten a couple of times tonight, but he's in the football game. And what an interception it is for the Argos and gives them possession at the Calgary 50.
Well, when you find a team in a 2nd and long situation, you can sit back in a zone coverage and read the pattern. That time, Carl Braisley sat back and just read the eyes of quarterback Rick Johnson. When he turned to throw, he was there for his 4th interception of 1986.
And he returns at 38 yards. Calgary still leads at 21-8, but we'll be back to see what the Argos can do in a moment. Toronto Argonauts trail Calgary 21-8. Argos have a first down after the Carl Braisley interception at the Calgary 50-yard line. Very quickly, the pass goes to Darrell Smith. And Smith will have another Toronto first down inside the 40 at about the 37 or 38-yard line.
Quick read by Conrad Holloway. Darrell Smith makes a nice catch, steps in around defensive end Vince Goldsmith, and that's a nice play on first down. Good yardage, first down. I think that's the first time Darrell Smith's touched the football tonight.
Picks up 12 yards and gives Toronto possession at the Calgary 38-yard line. Holloway going for the whole bundle, looking for Chris Woods. Mel Jenkins, the cornerback, played it perfectly and deflected the ball out of bounds.
Boy, he sure did. You know, in a bump and run situation, the cornerback stays right on the receiver's hip, and when the receiver's eyes light up when the ball's coming, that's when the quarterback turns and makes his move, and Mel Jenkins did it perfectly.
Argos have been in Calgary territory a lot this evening, but they haven't been able to put the ball in the end zone, with the exception of that short touchdown run by Craig Ellis. Holloway's pass for Pearson is no good. Larry Hogue was the defender on the play, and he almost deflected the ball into Pearson's hands. Pearson was lying flat on his back when the ball came down, but he wasn't able to hang on.
Well, Larry Hogue makes a good play here to knock that ball away. Fights high, you know, they're not the tallest guys. He's only 5'9". He's got to go up in the air and make that tip. Originally drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals in 1982, released and came to the Stampeders as a free agent. Been there now for 4 years.
Lance Chomick has been good on 14 of 16 field goals from 45 yards. This time, it is good. So Lance Chomick, who is having just a sensational season, now is 15 of 17 in field goal attempts this year, has not missed a point after, and he has put the Argos right back in the ball game, trailing by just 10.
Oh, what a difference a year makes. Last year at this time, we were all lamenting over the Toronto Argonaut problems with their kicking game. Hank Olisic not producing in the field goal department. His punting suffered. Now this year, probably one of the best features of the Toronto Argonauts is that kicking game. Hank Olisic averaging over 50 yards a kick, and Lance Chomick solidifying that field goal department.
The Stampeders will be at home to the Montreal Alouettes, and let's congratulate Gary Durchik, his staff, and all those athletes on the Owls who knocked off Edmonton in surprising fashion last night. Ray Alexander is there to make the catch at the Calgary 50-yard line. The fans are not happy, but the official was right on the spot, although Alexander's back was to him. It is called a Good catch by Ray Alexander, and Calgary has another first down.
Well, I sure like the offense that Bob Vespasiani and his staff have put in. Play action on first down, freezes those linebackers. That means you've got some good lanes to throw through on those hook patterns. Ray Alexander came back and made a nice catch.
This is an important drive for the Stampeders because the Argos have fought their way back into this football game. Johnson goes down after a pickup of about 5 yards. And it was probably just as well. Darrell Goodlow was chasing him and almost had him back of the line of scrimmage. And I think he could hear him coming anyway.
Boy, I heard that big old train coming after him. Remember Eugene Goodlow played with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, now with New Orleans in National Football League? Darrell's his cousin.
Well, I figured I thought you were going to tell me it was his father. That would have been really some information.
You think I'm nuts or what?
Second down, 5 yards to go, and the catch is made by Tim Petrus for another Calgary first down. Rick Johnson, it's unbelievable to think of him as a sophomore quarterback. He has so much poise back there, and he's got the good gun. The moment he spots the man, zing, the ball is there.
You know what he has, too, is great awareness of his position on the field. He knew he needed 4 yards or whatever, so he threw to the guy that could get him that. He seems to really have good command, presence of mind, thinking on the field. If he needs 10, he gets 10. If he needs more or less, you know, he just has the right call.
First down, Stampeders at the Toronto 48. Allen the ball carrier, and he steps through to the 45. He'll have a pickup of 3. Mark Seal, 76. Darrell Goodlow, 78, were there to make the stop.
Seal and Goodlow made the tackle.
What a night for Rick Johnson. Throwing the ball 28 times, completed 19, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns. Second down, 7 yards to go from the Toronto 45, and Johnson is going deep, but there was a mix-up, and Kerry Parker makes the interception. Oh, another big play by that Toronto defense. Kerry Parker with the interception return to the Calgary 50. Don Moan and Ray Alexander were going to mix it up. There was a mix-up between Johnson and Alexander on this play.
Well, Kerry Parker making his first start in 1986, and a big play as he gets the Argonauts' second interception of this second half.
6:55 left to play in the third quarter. Calgary 21, Toronto 11. We'll be back in a moment. An interception returned by that man, Kerry Parker, has given Toronto first down at the Calgary 50-yard line. Argos trail by 10 points. And here's the end around to Chris Woods. And he doesn't get a whole lot, but I'll tell you, it was his speed that allowed him to get outside of Eric Emery, number 35, because he appeared to be dead in the backfield, but Chris Woods just accelerated a little bit and does manage to pick up about 8.
Well, the left tackle who's going to peel back block, number 66, Kelvin Prinster, just didn't see Eric Emery to the outside, number 35, and had he been able to maybe block him, Chris Woods would have had a straighter line upfield and picked up a little more yardage than he did.
So it's second down, a couple of yards to go for the first down. Holloway throws complete to Pearson. He's got the first down to the Calgary 30-yard line. Anthony Woodson hauls him down from behind. Pickup is 12 yards, and the Argo drive continues.
Well, you know, sometimes you get lucky and get a matchup you like. That's a great matchup. Paul Pearson on a linebacker, Anthony Woodson, and they just needed a few yards, but he turned it upfield and got about 10 or 12. And, well, that's a great matchup. Woodson can't stay with Pearson.
6 minutes left to play in the third quarter. Calgary 21, Toronto 11. Argos on the march with a first down at the Calgary 30. Holloway to Pearson, touchdown. Is he a tough little guy, Paul Pearson? He knew he was going to get belted, but the ball was right on the money. He makes the catch. The Argos are right back in the ball game. They'll trail by a field goal.
Now, Paul Pearson's a real veteran receiver. You know, he's been around for 9 years, veteran from UBC, and he was really going to the sidelines. He saw an opening, turned it upfield. Conrich Holloway read it, and they snuck one in behind number 14, Larry Hogue. But, you know, that's experience, because that really wasn't the pattern until he saw a little crack in the defense, took it upfield, and Holloway read the same thing.
Well, you've been on good football teams. You've been on bad football teams. Let me ask you this. The Calgary Stampeders have had leads and lost 2 football games in the last seconds of it. They had a 14-point lead at the half. Are they sitting on the bench saying, oh, no, it's not going to happen again?
Well, I think it's a little early for that, but I'm sure it's running through the back of their minds a little bit. You know, we've lost a couple of close ones. We don't want to tighten up and let the Argos back in. We had them 21-8 at one point, and now they're creeping back ever so slowly. 21-18, only trailed by 3. Yes, they're going to think stuff like that.
Well, we haven't heard the cry Argos since 1983, but it's coming up from the stands right now as Conrad Holloway has ignited this offense. But really, it's been the defensive play of Carl Brazeley and Kerry Parker, who had 2 big key interception returns in this second half that has brought Toronto to within 3. Holloway has been good on 11 of 19 passes for 154 yards, 1 touchdown. He's been intercepted twice tonight. That gives him 5 on the season. Paul Pearson has caught 6 passes for 79 yards and a touchdown. As Hank Kolisic will be kicking off to Ronnie Hopkins, number 15, or Jamie Harris, number 81.
Well, we saw Leo Cahill at halftime, the general manager of the Argos, and his chin was around the floor. I guess he's going to be a little happier now.
Hopkins from the 10. Ooh, what a hit, but he bounces off of it, but right into the arms of somebody else. Number 35, Dan Rasevich, who, when he was with the Ottawa Rough Riders, was considered their best special teams player, came to Toronto last year, also won the special teams award with the Argonauts, and he was the man who really unloaded on Ronnie Hopkins and allowed number 21, Marcellus Green, to finish him off.
And, Pat, I think it's really fair to say that it's been the Toronto defense that has sparked the Argonaut resurgence in the second half. Carl Brazeley and Kerry Parker, each with interceptions. They are rather tight-lipped at the moment, but Brazeley is telling us that they made significant changes to their defensive scheme during the halftime break. They won't tell us what they are. Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised that they won't tell us what they are, but I'm a little bit surprised that they have done as well as they have in this third quarter, because, as you mentioned, that defense has certainly turned the game around as Kerry Parker now comes to the sideline, and he'll have a little chat with Jerry Nash and the defensive coordinator of the Argonauts. Coming off the field is Ronnie Hopkins, and I'm not surprised that he was shaken up after the hit that he took from Dan Rasevich.
Well, you see what happens. One mistake, a broken pattern by Ray Alexander and Kerry Parker interception, you take it down for a touchdown. Those mistakes just kill you.
The wide screen goes to Jamie Harris, and Harris will pick up about 7 or 8 yards. Don Moen forced him out.
Jamie Harris coming to the Calgary Stampeders along with linebacker Eric Emery from the BC Lions. They traded them for a 3rd-round draft choice.
Pickup was 7 yards, so make it 2nd and 3. Stampeders, the ball is at their 33-yard line. They really need a first down here. They need to get some of that momentum back. Pass goes down the middle to Tim Petrus, and the University of Calgary grad, the sure hands that he has, gives Calgary that much-needed first down in front of Willie Pless and David Marshall.
You know, we had an expression when I was playing. It's called take the crumbs, you know. And what that means is take the short stuff if it's going to pick you up a first down. He had Jamie Harris breaking downfield. Looked like he was coming open on a post pattern, but he saw Tim Petros. Easy pass, pick up the first down, and try and reestablish some momentum. Rick Johnson really has impressed me.
Ball is at the Calgary 42. Pass is caught again by Petros. He's forced out by Kerry Parker at the 50-yard line. He'll have a pickup of 8. But, boy, it sure makes that second down a lot easier when you pick up 7 and 8 every time on first down.
Yeah, hasn't been really too many times tonight when Calgary's found themselves in 2nd and long situations, and when they have, they've been hurt. Carl Brazeley picked off a pass on a 2nd and long. Watch the block. Ray Alexander, number 88, on Carl Brazeley right there. Picks him off, and Petros gets a few extra yards. Johnson again to Petrus. He has the first down at midfield.
Willie Pless was there to make the tackle. But Johnson says, that's fine. We've got the first down. That's exactly what we wanted. No, you're right, Lee. Rick Johnson is really an impressive-looking young quarterback. And the amazing thing is, it normally takes them 4 or 5 years to adjust to the Canadian game, particularly when they've come from south of the border. I mean, I can remember Vince Ferragamo coming up here, and by the end of the season, he knew less than the first game he had played. So for this young man to be able to step in and do the job in this his second year is amazing. This is Allen. And Gary Allen on that little counter play gets into the Toronto 48-yard line, and he'll have a gain of 6 or 7. There is a penalty marker down on the field, and that's been one of the rare ones tonight.
Willie Pless and Don Moe in on the tackle.
Only 4 penalties so far tonight. This one goes against the Argos, offside. So they'll take the 5 yards, and it'll be 1st and 5 for the Stampeders at the Toronto 50.
Toronto offside, number 64. First down repeated.
Brad Foytik, number 64. Well, this is the most enthused I've heard this Toronto crowd in a good number of years. Rick Johnson trying to steal some of that enthusiasm right now, has a 1st and 5. Allen, the ball carrier. Well, he doesn't get much, but he gets at least 3 yards before David Marshall, number 73, the middle linebacker, is there to nail him.
Well, there's Craig Ellis and Conrad Holloway having a little chat on the sidelines, and I think really, and they expected this would happen, Craig Ellis would be the one guy that would solidify this offense because he's a good rusher with the football when he gets a chance to carry it, but he is just excellent out of the backfield and really puts a lot of pressure on that defense.
It's 2nd down and a long 2 to go for Calgary. Clock is down to 2 minutes and 5 seconds, and now we're going to have a time count violation. Well, that just wrecks you because they could have run the football on that play, and if they come up inches short, run it again. But now they're going to find themselves in 2nd and 7.5.
Yeah, that's a real quarterback mistake because at 2nd and 2, I mean, you don't have to really search in your mind to figure out what play you're going to call. It should be get in the huddle basic and get up to the line of scrimmage.
2nd down.
So what referee Bob Bryan was saying was that it was a time count violation assessed against the quarterback Rick Johnson, number 16. This is Gary Allen. And Allen is all the way down to the Toronto 20-yard line. Well, it doesn't matter, 2nd and 2, 2nd and 7, 2nd and whatever you want. Rick Johnson is so cool back there. He finds Gary Allen, and the pickup is 32 yards.
Well, they set this screen up so well. Rick Johnson takes the snap from center, looks to his left, and really never looks back at Gary Allen until the last second. Don Moen sees what's happening, but he gets totally wiped out, and Gary Allen's off and running down the sidelines.
1st down, Stampeders. The ball at the Toronto 20 with 1:25 left in the 3rd quarter. Johnson to the end zone, broken up neatly by Kerry Parker, looking for Jamie Harris. Harris made a similar catch in the first half for a touchdown, but Parker was going to make sure that he didn't repeat.
Well, Kerry Parker last played in the Canadian Football League in 1983 with the BC Lions. He played out his option, went to the Kansas City Chiefs, and played there in 1984. Eventually was released, went back to BC last year, although he was never activated for a game. And, of course, this year traded to the Argonauts.
That's the situation, 2nd and 10. And the pass will be ruled incomplete, and should be, because it definitely bounced in front of Ray Alexander.
Boy, that's a tough throw all the way across field, and you got to try and throw it on the line. Here's Ray Alexander. Let's watch some of his moves. He's going to try and work the guy deep, hook around, come back to the football. No question about that, a one-hopper.
You know, I mentioned this in the 1st quarter, but for those who may not have heard it, Toronto ranks last in most defensive categories. They have the worst pass defense, 2nd worst run defense. Only Calgary is worse, incidentally, in run defense. And yet they've only given up 132 points, which is the best in the Eastern Conference and 4th best overall. And they showed you that again when Calgary had 1st down at the 20. J.T. Hayes' field goal is good, and so the Calgary lead is back up to 6 points.
7 yards. Stampeders lead.
But the point to be made is that Calgary had first down at the Toronto 20, and they have to settle for a field goal. But they'll take it. They had a 14-point lead at the half. They've just upped it now to 6 after it had been cut to 3. Calgary 24, Toronto 18. A really good football game. And let's be honest, Leith, there have been some outstanding contests in the CFL in 1986, more than in the last 3 years combined.
Well, I can't remember a game that was more entertaining than last week's Toronto-Edmonton game. That was just pure excitement from start to finish.
Warren Hudson. And look at the big fullback ramble. Hudson drops the football. The Stampeders have recovered at their 51-yard line. So the Calgary strategy works. They don't kick it deep to Craig Ellis. Instead, it goes to Warren Hudson. And Garrett Dole, number 97, will make the recovery for the Stampeders.
Yeah, J.T. Hayes just trying to chip that ball into an open area, but Warren Hudson makes a great play to pick it up. But at the end, the ball stripped loose by number 15, Ronnie Hopkins, and number 97, Garrett Dole, a reserve linebacker, comes up with the recovery.
So the Stampeders have possession at their 52-yard line. Handoff goes to Tim Petrus. And Petrus just puts his head down and bowls his way into the Toronto 52 for a pickup of 8 yards. David Marshall, the middle linebacker, was forced to make the tackle.
You know, Rick Johnson really has kept that Toronto defense off balance so far tonight. He's been throwing so much on first down. Now he crosses him up with running on first down. He picks up a good solid 6 yards. 2nd and 4 now. You know, who knows what he's going to do. He can throw or run for it.
Well, he hands it off to Tim Petrus, and he has a big first down inside the Toronto 45 to about the 43. Cliff Hewitt, number 15, the safety, made the tackle for the Argonauts. But that will do it. At the end of 3 quarters of play, the Calgary Stampeders lead the Toronto Argonauts 24-18. We'll return with the 4th quarter in a moment. In the 4th quarter of play, Calgary enjoying a 6-point lead. They have a first down, little play action fake, and Johnson is going for the bundle. Wide open is Ray Alexander, but what a play to get back there by Marcellus Green. Alexander was in behind him by about 7 or 8 yards, and Marcellus Green recovered to actually break up the play.
Well, Ray Alexander's complaining that Marcellus Green screened him a little bit at the end of the pass pattern, but he came open so quickly that Rick Johnson kind of hung that football up there, took it for granted that Alexander was just going to make the catch. But, boy, Pat, you hit it on the head. Marcellus Green recovered so quickly. You know, that is kind of screening there.
No question about it. Never turned his head 1 fraction of an inch. Just ran into him. So it's 2nd and 10 for the Stampeders. Alexander makes the catch and is forced out inside the Toronto 10-yard line. Carl Braisley and Marcellus Green forced him out at about the 8.
Well, he really fooled Marcellus Green. He ran it out and up and just sneaked down the sidelines, and Rick Johnson just feathered that ball in perfectly over the arms of Marcellus Green. Braisley knocks him out of bounds, but boy, Alexander time and time tonight has really made the big catch. They all have, all the receivers. Tolbert, Jamie Harris. The only one who really hasn't had much to do tonight's Marshall Toner.
So it's 1st and touchdown to go for the Stampeders. They lead it by 6. They have the ball at the Toronto 7-yard line. This is Gary Allen. They really did not get into the end zone. The Stampeders are furious. They feel he did. But the ball will be spotted at the 1-yard line.
1-yard line.
Gary Allen says, you're not going to give me that little inch or 2 that I'm short. They'll spot the ball at the 1-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal to go from that point.
Number 54, Rob Smith, right there at the top of your screen, just made a super block to spring Gary Allen loose. Well, you be the judge. Ball's got to break the plane of the goal line. You're going to get a great look at it here.
You're going to get a better look at it right now because it's second down and a yard to go. Johnson keeps it himself. Touchdown, Stampeders. And that comes with 13 minutes and 14 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter. The Stampeders looking for their third win of the season against 4 losses as Rick Johnson takes it in from a yard out.
Well, nothing fancy there, but the Calgary Stampeders really have answered the call. Toronto Argonauts made a big comeback here in the second half, but now, after this extra point by J.T. Hay, will most likely lead 31-18, and it's a tall order, even though there's over 13 minutes left.
Stampeders led it 4-0 at the end of the first quarter, and that's 3 more points than they normally average in the first quarter of play, which is their worst. They led it 21-7 at the half, 24-18 after 3 quarters, and right now it is Calgary 31, Toronto 18. We'll be back with the Stampeders kickoff in a moment. Quarterback Johnson really has an opportunity of establishing a couple of Calgary Stampeder passing marks tonight. He's thrown 38 times. The most ever by a Stampeder was Kenny Johnson. He threw 49 in one game. And Rick Johnson tonight has completed 25, and the best ever is by Kenny Johnson, who completed 34. So let's watch and see what happens as, again, Warren Hudson takes the kickoff for Toronto and gets it back to midfield.
Well, I remember Kenny Johnson played for the Stampeders for a while. Then I believe he went and finished up his career in Montreal.
Was with the Buffalo Bills for a while and then came up to Calgary.
Gentlemen, the Argonaut offense coming on the field. Here's what Vince Goldsmith of the Stampeders has to say about them. He said in the second half they've been showing, running those shorter routes, and Holloway's been releasing quicker. He says what they have to do is tighten up their short coverage, and the rush has to get up in his face to make him delay the throw.
Holloway on first down fires incomplete. He was looking for Kirtland Thomas, who has not made a catch tonight. And the ball was just too far beyond him. He got his hands on it, but it was not Conrad's greatest pass. Well, they're all big series now when you're down by 13 points, but Toronto really has to retain possession here with 12:40 left to play in the fourth quarter. They have excellent field position, second down at their own 54-yard line. Calgary jump. The flag comes down, so this is a free one for Holloway. And the pass is incomplete. He was looking for Paul Pearson again.
Well, they'll end up replaying the down. I'm sure Toronto's called for holding as well. Paul Pearson could not hang on to the football. It's going to be offside Calgary, holding Toronto. But we get to do it all over again.
So the difference is 5 yards, as Bobby Bryan will explain to you right now.
Offside, Calgary 77. Holding, Toronto 51. The difference is 5 yards and second down.
So the holding penalty was against James Walker, the defensive end, number 77 of the Stampeders. The holding was against Jeff Inglis, the right tackle, number 51. So it's second down and 15 yards to go, Toronto, because the difference in the penalties was 5 yards. Holloway throws, and they will rule it an incompleted forward pass. Had Craig Ellis caught it, he would have gained 5 yards. But Holloway was under some pressure, and now Toronto will be forced to give up the football. Harold Holloman has really played well tonight for the Stampeders, number 99, and he was the one who forced Holloway to simply dump the ball off.
Harold Holman's an interesting story. In the 1986, this past NFL draft, he was chosen in the 10th round by the San Francisco 49ers, but he'd heard that they wanted to make him into a linebacker. Now, he knew they had some pretty good linebackers in camp, so he chose to just come up and sign with Calgary.
Well, the Stampeders are going to concede a single point. And it's a good move by Gary Allen because he allowed the ball to carry him into the end zone, and it'll be a single point. Some Toronto fans would like it to be a safety touch, but it'll be a single. And it'll make the score Calgary 31, Toronto 19. We'll be back in just a moment.
Of the Argonauts, number 15 had his bell rung on a kickoff. He now has, it's been diagnosed a concussion. He will not return to the ball game.
Cliff Hewitt in his second year with the Argos from Eastern Utah Junior College. Actually was displaced by Jerry Nash at that safety spot, but now he has come back to take the job from Nash. Gary Allen, the ball carrier, picks up about 4 yards to the 39-yard line. The ball came loose, but he was down and had been for some time.
Well, we get back into a situation similar to the end of the second quarter when Calgary was trying to run out the clock. What they'd like to do is really grind it out here. 11 minutes remaining. Pick up a few first downs. Get that field position. Well, it's not too bad at the 39-yard line, but if they can get the running game going, keep that clock running.
Pickup is 4 yards. It's 2nd and 6. Johnson fires the ball, and it hit the intended receiver, Ray Alexander, right on the helmet.
Well, you know, Kerry Parker's had a pretty good night. Had that one interception, and he's had some great coverage on Ray Alexander. Watch how he works here. Alexander trying to get back to the inside, but Kerry Parker stays right with him. You know, he's been so inactive for a couple of years now that I think he's played very well.
Hey, Timmy.
So the Argos hold, and Calgary will be forced to punt. Kirtland Thomas, number 72, is the only man back for Toronto. Argos would love to get through on this one. Only 2 punts tonight by Glenn Harper, which gives you an indication of how well that Calgary offense has been moving. Thomas on the move, takes it at the 35. And that's a good return as he gets to about the 46, 47-yard line. And Toronto will have good field position with 10 minutes and 28 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter. The Argos trailing by 12. The Players' Challenge Tennis Tournament has really been bothered by terrible weather in Montreal. But hopefully the semifinals will go tomorrow, and in fact they will, because I believe they've moved it indoors, and then the final will be on Sunday.
Our old buddy Don Fontana will be adding his expert analysis.
You'll see all of that on your local CTV channel. Paul Pearson with the reception. And he fights his way for 5 or 6 yards before he's wrapped up by the middle linebacker, Bernie Morrison. Now, the Argos have lots of time. They're down by 12, but they've got to generate some offense here. And they've got to pick up a first down on this occasion.
Well, they've been providing us with some great finishes.
Stampeders have won once on the road. They've lost twice. Only 9.5 minutes away from evening that up. Kirtland Thomas is wrapped up by number 15, Ronnie Hopkins, and the Argos will be well short of a first down.
Yeah, I think old Kirtland would like to have that one over, too. As soon as he caught the ball, he tried to break to the outside. He really should have cut back in where somebody, actually number 74, Darrell Smith, was trying to line up a block for him. You could see they're talking. He says, next time, cut inside me.
Yeah, I'm an old-time football guy, though. I think you got to throw the ball downfield.
Well, I mean, it's if he cuts inside, chances are he picks up the first down. He just went the wrong way.
Yeah. But, you know, if your aunt was your uncle, there are a whole lot of things could be different, too.
My voice?
Top pass. Yeah, come on. Big ball. Now.
Allen takes it at the Calgary 4. And he dances his way to the 10-yard line. So the Stampeders will start in the hole, but they've got the football, and they lead the Toronto Argonauts 31-19. We'll be back in just a moment.
17 hours. That's how long it took us to paint this house with a brush. Then we painted it in just 6.5 hours with a Wagner Power Painter. This wicker chair took over an hour, but less than 5 minutes with a Wagner Power Painter. A shutter that took 20 minutes, a Power Painter finished in only 3. It's a tool so versatile, it has a flexible spray tip and a way to draw paint right from a can. A Wagner Power Painter. It's the right tool for painting.
Hi, I'm Harvey Burritt. About every 80 years, Burritt Brothers Carpets makes a bold move. Since 1907, we've sold quality carpeting and first-class installations to the people of Greater Vancouver, and now we're expanding to Victoria. To mark the occasion, we have opening specials at both locations. That means sale prices on Crosley Karastan, Bremworth, and Imperial carpets. So make a point of visiting us soon, because at this rate, there won't be another event like it till about 2060.
Next Friday night, we'll be in the nation's capital. The BC Lions will meet the Ottawa Rough Riders, and that'll be a struggle for Ottawa, to be sure. But the BC Lions have been impressive in every outing, and we'll see what the Rough Riders have measured up for them. I'll guarantee you one thing, you'll see some hitting in that ball game. First down, Stampeders. The ball is at their own 10-yard line. Tim Petras on the draw, and Petras fights his way over the 15 to about the 17 or 18, and he'll come up about 2 to 3 yards short of the first down. Good play, though. And, of course, it keeps the clock moving.
Yeah, you know, that offensive line of the Calgary Stampeders has really done a good job. They come out and they get a pretty good block on Willie Pless, but, you know, he still fights it off. Block of Dave Kurtzinger, who's been an all-star so many times. Willie Pless fights it off, makes the tackle, but they still pick up 8 yards.
The ball carrier does not make it. He got back to the line of scrimmage and not an inch further. So the Argonauts certainly do their job defensively. And with 8 minutes left to play in the fourth quarter, they're going to get the football back.
Well, Brad Poituk and Mark Seal really close up the middle. There comes Willie Pless, David Marshall. They do an excellent job. And, you know, that was pretty critical. They really wanted to stop them there. They've got a little over 8 minutes left, you know. Unless Glenn Harper really uncorks one, they're going to get the ball back in good field position. They're going to rush 11 guys one more time. Kirtland Thomas, the only guy back.
I mean, this game should be totally out of reach. Calgary has 446 yards total offense. Toronto, 171. And yet the Calgary lead is but 12 points. So we're talking 2 converted touchdowns by Toronto, and the Stampeders would suffer yet another come-from-behind loss, although I don't feel in my bones that it's going to happen to them tonight. They've played too well. Don Moen, he has had an excellent season for the Toronto Argonauts. Matter of fact, it was, 2 games ago, Leaf, that he was selected the defensive Carling O'Keefe star of the game?
Yeah, out in Saskatchewan. Yeah. He was our Carling O'Keefe game star. Originally drafted in the 2nd round by the BC Lions in 1982, but a couple of days before that season started, he was traded to the Toronto Argonauts.
So again, the Argos send but one man back. Kirtland Thomas, number 72, awaiting this punt from Glenn Harper.
They've been really working to try and free Carl Braisley, number 2, up to get a good shot at blocking it. We'll see what kind of scheme they use here.
Well, they dropped Braisley back.
Well, they're going for the return.
Kirtland Thomas gets the ball to the Calgary 45-yard line. So the Argos, with 7.5 minutes left to play in the game, trailing by 12, will begin in Calgary territory.
Well, you could see the difference in the kicking games. Hank Olisic punting so well, and I'd say on that exchange they picked up close to 15 yards.
Well, there's no doubt about it that Toronto's kicking game has been a major reason for their 4-2 record. Another reason is number 7 returning to the lineup. Conrad Holloway is there from the shotgun. He sets up the screen to Craig Ellis. And Ellis will be close to a first down, short by a couple of yards as he's tripped up by Mel Jenkins.
Boy, they set that up well, and it really appeared as though he was going to get a lot more than 8 or 9 yards, but the Calgary defense really reacted quickly. There's Holloway, sets it up, let the guys come, and there's Craig Ellis. You get a couple of blockers out in front. Big Jeff Inglis, 65, Dan Petchnik out front, but Mel Jenkins makes a nice play.
Craig Ellis, the ball carrier. Oh, he cut it in nicely. Saw the opening, just cut it inside, went to the 30-yard line. Larry Hogue is forced to make the tackle, but the Argos get the first down.
Big number 34, Bob Bronk, gets an excellent lead block on 35, Eric Emery. Good block by Dan Petchnik, cuts inside, and there you go, easy pickup for the first down.
Holloway's pass was intended for Chris Woods. They got their feet entwined. The official appeared to be reaching for the flag and never did throw it.
Well, now the one ref had the flag halfway out of his pocket. And he saw the other referee indicate incomplete pass, and he just said, well, I guess it wasn't interference, so he shoves the flag back in his pocket. Watch this. Now, they get their feet tangled up, but, you know, that's not Chris Wood's fault.
Mel Jenkins, number 28.
Yeah.
So it's second down, Argos, from the Calgary 30. Holloway going for Pearson, and it's just over his head. The flag is down this time, and Bernie Morrison is indicating it's holding against the Argos.
I wonder if they'll accept this penalty to try and get him out of field goal range.
Well, the field goal, of course, isn't going to mean anything to them.
Holding, Toronto number 65, declined, third down.
So it's 3rd and 10.
Let them go for it.
Sure, they're down 12 points.
Yeah. 5:43 left.
They need 2 touchdowns, so they may as well go for it on 3rd and 10. The catch is made by Chris Woods at the 9-yard line. Boy, you talk about clutch receiving and a clutch pass by Conrad Holloway. 21 yards the pickup. Let's watch Chris Woods again.
Well, he ran a great pattern. They were expecting man-to-man, and he was going to run a post-corner pattern. Well, he just broke it off when he saw the zone coverage, got in the open spot, and that was a great adjustment. You know, you heard Conrad Holloway say at the beginning of our telecast that now his receivers are making the good adjustments. That was a great one right there.
Oh, hang on to your hats. We could be going down to the final plays again. 1st and goal to go from the 9. But Holloway is sacked. Back at about the 12 or 13. How many is that, Bobby? 4. 4 quarterback sacks for that Calgary defense tonight.
Well, Vince Goldsmith, number 78, was in the general area. Quite a few Stampeders, but not surprising. As we told you earlier, they came into this game leading the league in the sack department.
And Toronto was the worst offense for giving up sacks. So it's not surprising that Calgary, as Leaf has pointed out, has had success. Ball is back to about the 11.5-yard line. Holloway to Pearson. Deflected away at the final moment by Eric Emery. Oh, Pearson was sure that he had his 3rd touchdown of the season.
Well, so was Conrad Holloway, and I think he almost relaxed on this throw a little bit and just didn't give it enough airtime because Eric Emery came back and made a great play. But what a matchup. I mean, you can't ask for anything better. Paul Pearson on a linebacker, and there he's out in front, just had to lead him just a bit farther. Boy, those are the kind you dream about later on tonight.
Biggest play of the ball game for both teams right now. It is 3rd down and 10. Argos have to put it in the end zone. For Pearson, touchdown, his 2nd of the ball game. Well, it looked like the same play.
Well, it really was padded. You know, that's why I like a guy like Conrad Holloway. The play worked the last time, and he just anticipated and hoped that you'd get the same defense. Maybe Artis Elta, the offensive coordinator, called that play from upstairs, but same coverage, and that time he led Pearson, made a nice fingertip catch. His 2nd touchdown of the game.
Well, isn't it wild in the CFL in 1986? Here we are with 4 minutes and 7 seconds left to play, and really it's anybody's ball game because the Argos now trail by just 5. 2 third down gambles pay off. Well, this is the way you drop. That time, Eric Emery was not able to get there. Well, the city of Toronto really got pumped up after the Friday night CTV game in Edmonton last week. The talk of football really had been dormant for a couple of years. All you heard was the Blue Jays. But it was such a great football game that everybody started talking about the Argos, and I'd say there are at least 5,000 to 6,000 more people in the stands tonight than we have had for a game in the last couple of seasons.
With nobody on top.
If they ever pull this one out, look out. The old Grey Cup fever will be hitting again. Paul Pearson, he could play on my team in any league. He's such a great competitor.
You could hear him say there was just nobody on top. He said they tried to cover me with a linebacker, you know, and man-to-man. That's a total mismatch, and they capitalized on it.
Ronnie Hopkins from the 3-yard line. And Hopkins gets out over the 25 to the 27, but he can't get by Willie Pless. When he ran his long kickoff of 95 yards, he was able to break Willie Pless's tackle. This time, Pless hung in there. The return is 24 yards, but the Stampeders have their work cut out for them right now. They're trying to hang on to a lead that they have had since the opening moments of the ball game. The clock is moving with 3 minutes and 51 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter. First down, Stampeders at their 27. Johnson wanted to set up the screen and very nearly had it picked off as Tim Petrus had the ball slide off his hands, and Carl Brazeley dove for it, but could not come up with it. That was a very late developing play. They faked the reverse to Gary Allen, and then they tried to set up the screen, and it took forever.
Yeah, and Willie Pless, number 32, was right there. Had he made the catch, well, he's a smart linebacker for a rookie. He seems to be everywhere. Well, this is where you really check them out, because they've had a great night offensively, but it comes down to this. They've got to move the football.
When was the last time you heard the crowd in Toronto this pumped up? Johnson's pass, no good. Looking for Ray Alexander. The pass was slightly underthrown. Alexander tried to come back to the football, dove for it, but it goes incomplete. Old Mo has swung back over to the Argos.
Yeah, Old Mo's made his presence felt here in the fourth quarter. A big touchdown by Paul Pearson on the third down gamble, and now the Argonauts once again should get the ball around their 40-45-yard line.
We've got 3 minutes and 10 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter. Harper averaging but 39 yards a punt. Argos have only Kirtland Thomas back. And now they drop Carl Brazeley off, and Harper gets his best boot of the game. Thomas from his 34-yard line. Here's the end around to Carl Brazeley, but he hasn't fooled anybody, and he actually loses yardage back to the 30.
Well, Anthony Woodson just made a super play on that reverse to not let Brazeley get to the outside. He saw it coming all the way.
There's a penalty marker down. We'll tell you about it when we come back. Calgary leads Toronto 31-26. We'll return in a moment.
Toronto, number 18. First down.
A legal block is called against Jerry Nash. So Glenn Harper comes up with his best punt of the night, 51 yards, and the 10-yard penalty adds up to a 61-yard turnabout. And Toronto is now back at its 20-yard line with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter. Calgary leads it by 5. Surely it cannot happen to them again. Holloway dumps it into the middle to Chris Woods. And Woods is out over the 30 to the 32 for a Toronto first down.
Well, there's plenty of time for Conrad Holloway. He's just got to be patient. The entire offense has to be patient. 2 minutes and 26 seconds is an eternity to take this football down the field.
Well, I thought Frank Rigney made such an appropriate comment last Friday night when he said, if there's one guy you want at the controls in the Canadian Football League in this situation, it is Conrad Holloway, and let's see if he can do it twice in a row. He throws it sidearm to Pearson. And Pearson is cut down on a very good tackle by Mel Jenkins after a pickup of 8.
Well, we're talking a big tackle right there, because it looked like Pearson was going to have very little trouble picking up that first down. Here he is, and watch how Jenkins cuts him down. He goes no further, doesn't pick up an extra inch. So, got a couple of yards left to go for that first down.
Of course, we're talking 3-down football now for the Toronto Argonauts. You've seen the last of their kicking game. Holloway's going to throw for it, looking for Chris Woods. It's over his head, out of bounds. Boy, he came dangerously close to the television camera on the sidelines.
Woods incomplete. Third down.
Well, I don't know about those calls.
No, I agree with you. I mean, you need first downs. You got all the time in the world.
Yeah, if you run the ball, you got 2 chances, 2 downs to make 2 yards, and now you got to do it on a third down gamble again. Third big one they've had here in the fourth quarter. If I don't get attacked by this moth up here in the booth.
Don't kill it. You know what happened to Dave Winfield? And the toss goes to Craig Ellis, and Ellis fights for what appears to be the first down. Boy, I'll tell you, he fought for that.
Now, he's a good hard runner. You know, a 200-pounder that really can bust in there. Well, they're 3 for 3 on the gambles.
Ellis has averaged 3 yards a run, and he picked up about 3 yards on that carry, but that is certainly the most important one. 1:45 left in the fourth quarter. First down, Toronto at their 43-yard line. Holloway throws behind the intended receiver, Darrell Smith.
Holloway's pass intended for Darrell Smith. Incomplete.
Well, safety blitz coming, and they just ran out of men to try and pick it up. Conrich had to let that ball go a little quicker than he wanted to. Darrell Smith with a couple of big touchdowns last week. I believe only 1 reception so far tonight. 2 catches tonight.
1:38 left to play in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 10, Toronto. Holloway down the middle. What a catch by Pearson at the Calgary 42-yard line. Greg Peterson was there to cut him down, but Pearson, number 25, goes high in the air to register a 25-yard gain.
This is just sensational. You know, who do you go to in the clutch situations? Conrich Holloway went to Pearson in Regina. Tonight, 2nd and 10, big play has to be made. What a catch. Oh, boy, that's spectacular.
Oh, looking for Chris Woods and just beyond his outstretched hand.
You know, but give Mel Jenkins credit. He was right there and forced that ball high. I mean, Woods is going to have to make an unbelievable catch if he does.
If the CFL doesn't start filling stadiums with the kind of football that they're playing in 1986, I would say that football is not a factor any longer in Canada, because the games have been outstanding. The quality of play has been sensational. 1:17 left to play in this one. 2nd down, Toronto. The pass is very nearly picked off by Larry Hogue as he jumped in front of Paul Pearson at the final moment. And that would have been the game winner for the Stampeders, but Holloway has one more chance.
Well, he's been 3 on 3, 3 for 3 here in the fourth quarter with third down gambles. 1 a touchdown pass to Paul Pearson.
This is it. The football game is up for grabs right now. 1:12 left to play. Holloway looking for Kirtland Thomas. It goes incomplete. Ronnie Hopkins was on the coverage. And it looks as though the Calgary Stampeders are not going to lose their third in the final moments. It looks like they are going to pick up their 3rd victory of 1986, because they have but 1:06 to kill off. Gee, it's been a good football game. It's been, well, close really from start to finish, although the Stampeders did lead it by 14 at the half. The Argos came back and trailed by just 3. Then they fell behind by 13 again, narrowed it to what it is now, 5 points. And the Stampeders will just try to kill the final 1:06.
Well, when you have to keep going to those third down gambles, the law of averages finally catches up to you.
Gary Allen leaps through there. Dennis Clay finally hops on his back as he gets to the 49-yard line for a pickup of about 7 or 8 yards.
Gary Allen carried.
What a night Rick Johnson, the quarterback of the Stampeders, has had. What a night Ray Alexander has had. The whole club has played solidly. This is a good-looking football team. It's amazing the transformation. Tim Petrus is the ball carrier. He dives across the 50 to about the 51-yard line. Now, he'll be short of the first down. Well, you got to kick the football. I mean, the clock is stopped momentarily at 42 seconds. What you should do, I would suggest, is take the time count violation when it gets to 22 seconds, let them march off 5 yards, and then finally punt the football. Think I could be a...
Go to the head of the class, because that's exactly what they should do.
You know it.
And Bob Vespasiani, the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders, is having a meeting on the sideline with his team, and hopefully that's what he's instructing them to do.
Well, now, Rick Johnson wants to call a timeout. If he does,
no, don't call it.
Vespasiani should run off and just drill him. Because you want that clock to get moving. But the Argos have called the timeout, so that's all right.
I'll give Obi credit. He knew what probably was going to happen, that they would run that clock down and stop it now at 42, force the issue. I can't believe, you know, they're even looking at the yard markers to consider what they want to do, and I'm talking about the Calgary coaching staff.
They're going to punt the football.
Oh, yeah, they're putting the guys, the punting team goes in.
Well, the Argos, what's the point of putting anybody back? I'd just line the 12 guys up there and let them go for it.
Yeah, right.
Well, you know, you still got a chance to run one back.
Come on, Anthony, cover it down. Cover it down. Let's go.
They're going to put Kirtland Thomas, number 72, back to return this punt.
Everyone get rid of it.
And here they come, 11 of them strong, and they don't get there, but they've come very close. And Thomas is drilled down at the 25, but there are 31 seconds left.
Boy, you know, that punt, as bad as it was, turned out to be pretty effective, even though he shanked it. It just rolled around the ground and it knocked off about 8 seconds before Kirtland Thomas could get over to pick it up.
Well, with 32 seconds, you could certainly throw 4 outs. Or you could throw an 85-yard touchdown.
1 hook and 3 outs, or what?
Because you've got to get that clock stopped. Flag is down, so is Condredge back at the 15-yard line. And you've got to know that it's a holding penalty against the Argos. And Holloway is still down.
Well, he's slowly getting up, but he took a pretty good shot there. I couldn't tell if it was James Walker or who it was. So many guys came in. I think it's the frustration of defeat that's also showing on the face of Condredge Holloway. They came awfully close.
Boy, that defense of the Stampeders has played well tonight.
They sure have.
Every aspect of this football team. Holloway's pass is caught. Would have been a perfect situation for the flea flicker. I wonder.
I think he was trying.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to get it out, but they had, I believe it was Eric Emery, had the arms wrapped up.
The pass went to Kirtland Thomas, who obviously wanted to lateral it to Craig Ellis. We've got 12 seconds left to play in the game. Inside 10 now. Holloway's pass is caught, and Ellis steps out of bounds after making the first down. And we have 5 seconds left, which means we will have time for one final Toronto Argonaut offensive play.
Well, they're going to line up 3 guys to one side and run 2 of them straight down the field with a trailer in behind, try and get a tip ball or something to that effect.
The ball is at the Argo 37-yard line.
Got Jeff Townsend in for a little extra speed.
Another flag is down. We're going to have a holding call against Bob Brock in all probability. But it's tough to throw the football when it's rolled back to you. And with Condredge Holloway down on the ground, the holding penalty is called against the Argos, but I don't know why we're going through all the irritation, because there is no time left on the clock.
Declined.
That is the ball game. The Calgary Stampeders have won their third game against Eastern opposition, and their third game of the season, in fact, as they have defeated the Toronto Argonauts 31-26, and boy, are they full value for this win. They came out and led it 4-0 at the end of the first quarter. They led it 14-7 at halftime. It was 21-7. Excuse me, it was 21-7 at the half. It was 24-18 at the end of 3 quarters of play. And the final score is Calgary 31, Argos 26. A tremendous victory for the Stampeders. As you take a look at the statistical story, can there be any doubt about the winner? 449 yards for the Stampeders, 275 for the Argonauts. Turnovers, Argos had 4, Stampeders had 2.
Well, you talk about consistency. Rick Johnson last week, 374 yards passing. This week, 346. He's thrown every down, been in every down a quarterback for the Stampeders, and really the reason why they are 4-3, and boy, oh boy, they could be, or 3-4 rather, they could be easily a couple of more victories.
Well, Rick Johnson completed 25 of 41 passes tonight for 346 yards. But maybe the biggest play of the football game was registered by number 15, Ronnie Hopkins, who returned to kickoff 95 yards. The Argos had just scored. They had cut the deficit to 7 points. Hopkins takes the ensuing kickoff, runs it back 95 yards, and 2 plays later, the Stampeders put it in the end zone to increase their lead once again to 14 points. So that was an extremely big play. The Stampeders beat the Toronto Argonauts 31-26. They've got to be delighted in Calgary, and they are going to be delighted in that Stampeder dressing room because, I mean, let's face it, when you have lost 2 games in the final seconds, it could have happened here tonight, but let's give them full credit. It did not, because the Stampeders hung tough. Dan?
Coach Bob Vespiziani. Sorry, how do you say your last name, Bob, again?
Vespiziani.
Sorry about that. Vespiziani. Were you thinking shades of BC last week?
No. I'm thinking we're about overdue to win these close ones, and this is the start, and I'm very pleased for our people.
Bob, you had 3 terrific quarters of play out of your offense.
I know, but we got to get, the thing going where we put 4 together, and we got a way to go, but this is for the people back home, and let's fill the park.
We've talked a lot about Rick Johnson. He can throw the ball a mile. We've talked about your receivers. The offensive line really seemed to gel tonight. Johnson had all day to throw the ball.
Yes, he did. They've been playing pretty steady most of the every game, and it's a team effort. It's not only Rick pulling the trigger, but it's the receivers, it's that line. It's total team effort, and we're just very pleased to come east in the Argos ballpark and win one, and we're very happy.
This seems like a ball club, too, with a lot of enthusiasm. A young team learning on the job, but doing it with a lot of spirit.
Well, we hope so. That's the type of thing we try to put across to the fellas. Go out there and have fun, and good things happen to good people, and we hope we have good people.
One of the stars of the game today is going to be your quarterback. Can this kid get even better?
Oh, yeah. Rick was hampered a little bit with his ankle, but he's a very gutsy guy, and he went out there and played on it, and I'm hoping he'll be ready for the next one against Montreal.
Montreal, what do you think about them? They had a surprise win last night.
No, it's no surprise to me. They're not a bad football team at all, and this is going to give them a little more momentum for our game. And we're going to have to go out there and play good, sound football again and correct some of our boo-boos that we made today and play even better next week.
Well, looking down the road, what are some of the parts of the game you might work on?
Well, before, without looking at the tapes, it's a little difficult, other than the obvious, which is in our kickoff coverage. We've got to do a better job. They really had some great field position, and conversely, we got one good return, but it's just that aspect hurt us a little bit. I thought we did decently on the punting game, but and punt returns when we had a chance. We really didn't kick that much in this one, but I think that aspect bothers me some, and just a little more consistency and putting 4 quarters together. And, we'll be okay. I think the fellas needed this, and I'm very happy for them.
Well, Coach, congratulations tonight.
Thank you very much.
Stampeders win a big one. We'll be back to talk more about tonight's football game in just a moment. You are watching CTV's Friday Night Football.